So I made a video, a reel, about this Bolivian architect who created his own style of Bolivian architecture or architecture, which is like the Neo-Andes architecture. Freddie Mamani is his name. And that inspired me, creating that video or reel inspired me to create this video where I share my journey of healing wounds around doing what I want and, not needing other people's permission to do what I want anymore and to want what I want in life and also to go after what I want in life. Because this year it's been made very clear to me that I had this sense of needing to ask for permission for what I really wanted to do, and what I want from life. And that stems in my childhood. But yeah, I really felt called to share this because for me it's been fascinating, learning this program. And even more like that I had this because I believed that others expected me to ask for their permission to do what I wanted and etc. want what I want. I also expected others to ask me for permission. So it's like always when you have these programs, it's not just one way and it's also the other way. And subconsciously, like you could be living under these programs. So yeah, this year I spent a lot of time alone and I really needed to uncover this program and this old way of being where I thought I needed to ask for permission to do what I want, to want what I want, etc. Because Spirit is guiding me to live a life where I'm comfortable in what I want, where I'm safe in what I want. I don't need to ask for permission for others to give me the green light to do what I want in life and want what I want. This year has been really training ground for me to live my own life, and this layer of this old me needed to come off so that I could be myself more and live my own life and be free as me, as my true self. And so my inner child has the key to uncovering these wounds. And it's not to say, I'm never saying that the inner child is bad or that they're not me, but the inner child holds all the wounds. It's the wounded child within all of us. And so when you're living from this place, you're living from your wounds, and your wounds aren't you. There's an unwounded part of you, the wonder child within you, that is you. Both of them makes you, but that's more your true or your natural self. The wonder child self is your more true or natural self. So I needed to connect, to get to know, and get the help of my inner child to get to my wonder child self again. Because we've been disconnected when it comes to knowing what I want, knowing what I want to do, and from when it comes to knowing how I want to live my life, what I want in life, what makes my life, what's a life that feels true to me, that lights me up, that inspires me, that feels natural to me. So, yeah, what I discovered really, especially during my time in Bali, was that I had a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear when it comes to doing what I want. Like, I was spending time alone, and so I could do anything that I wanted, but I felt like I needed to ask for permission. Permission from others, like including my mom. I mean, it all came from my mom, but I projected my mom onto my partner. So it involved like feeling or thinking that I needed to ask permission from my partner when I didn't, and when she didn't expect that from me, and feeling extreme guilt when I did what I want. And when it came to what I want from life or how I wanted to live my life, it was more so guilt from my mom, not from my partner, or yeah, at all. I thought that my mom would actually get sad and be disappointed if I asked for what I wanted, that she would reject me or that she would feel rejected. And I didn't want that. That made me feel so unsafe. And so, most of the time in my life, throughout my life, I just hid what I really wanted and just put on a facade of what I thought was expected from me, what I thought I should want in a lot of sense. But of course, this made me so unhappy inside and feel like something was missing and something wasn't right. There's always this sense of like being uncomfortable and not being fulfilled because I wasn't doing or asking for what I really wanted or living my life how I really wanted. And I felt like this fear of abandonment. What if mom leaves me? Mom's what if my mom disconnects from me if I do what I want? What if she doesn't love me anymore? Of course, for a child, that's the most scary thing that you could experience. And it's not true. My mom loves me unconditionally and she would never leave me. But this way of being was just so ingrained in me and so true to me until this year. This fear of abandonment felt so real. And so I had thoughts and beliefs that were driving me, right? That were like, okay, if you want what you want, if you um, go for what you want, if you do what you want, then you're going to be abandoned. I often just conformed to what I thought my mom wanted from me, or people in intimate relationships with me wanted from me, so that I could feel safe, so that I could prevent feeling this fear of abandonment. It's just to avoid a feeling, which was a threat. Fear of abandonment is a real threat to my childhood self, my inner child, but it never happened. But it was very, very scary for her. In those moments where I felt a disconnect from my mom or from mom initially, even a second of disconnect felt like abandonment. So, yeah, like my inner child guided me to do anything but anything that creates this sense of abandonment and disconnect again throughout my life. But this year just happens to be a year where I could no longer do that, and I'm so grateful. It meant that I had to spend a lot of time whenever what I really wanted to do would come up and I feel anxiety, to actually sit with that, to sit with anxiety, to let it be there, and to feel the fears, feel the guilt, feel the fear of disappointing my mom, and fear of abandonment, of making her sad, not so much angry. Also, fear of not being accepted, or not fitting into, societal norms, because what I want really doesn't align with the culture that I grew up in, or the mainstream at all, or what's normal, quote unquote normal. So I had to really sit with that and get comfortable with that. And step by step, I would actually do the things I wanted. You know, it could be like going to a certain cafe, like really small things, saying what I wanted. It's a huge thing. When I could let myself feel these anxieties, these fears, let them come up, that's when I could actually go into more depth within me and to feel again what it is that's true within me. For instance, like coming to Peru again, um, being okay with like moving houses, with not having this apartment that I could invite people over to and to show off to the world, like, hey, like I made it. Like I really didn't need that. Or having one single place as my home, to call my base, although Peru is kind of becoming my base. But like things that I thought I needed in order to be accepted, in order to be loved, and to not feel any fears of abandonment or rejection. I'd feel them, and then the truth would present themselves. What I truly want to do, how I truly want to be, how I truly want to live, what's natural to me. And these just felt right. They're very like subtle. Energetically, it wasn't like, oh my god, like everything makes sense. It was just so peaceful. I felt a sense of peace again. And that's how I know like, oh, it's coming from my heart. It doesn't have to be these elaborate things that I thought or my inner child thought, in order to fit in, to be accepted, to be loved. No, like what I truly want to do, what I truly um, want to go for, how I truly want to be, how I truly want to live, how I want my life to be. It's very peaceful. All of these things. That's how um, my truth felt, very peaceful and connected to love and really me, authentic. So, yeah, at first, I really needed to get comfortable with accepting these, accepting what I want within myself, to not verbalize them to other people so much, but to practice accepting that within me first. Get used to it, get comfortable in my body, and then I could talk to it with other people. And I feel like this process is very important because it made me more stable in myself, more peaceful, more grounded. If I'm going out there and asking others to accept what I want before I accept them myself, then I'm so wobbly. Like if they show any signs of disinterest, disregard, or like invalidation, then I could get very insecure. So for me, finding or creating that stable foundation within me first has been very important in my process, and it still is in many ways. I lost my train of thought. I'm just channeling. Um, yeah, like when I really sat with this anxiety, and there's a moment where it was just so overwhelming. I wanted to do something. This anxiety came up. It was so overwhelming, and I really sat with it, um, and let it move through me. I realized that this was just anxiety. I thought that people were kind of pressuring me, or I really felt this expectation that I need to ask for permission. I felt this energy really pressing onto me in that moment. And it was a lot to handle, and I really didn't like it. You know, it was so uncomfortable. So, what was easier was just to not do what I really wanted to do. That was my coping mechanism, that was my survival mechanism. Just avoid that discomfort and guilt and shame and possibly disappointing another person or hurting another person, even though usually what I wanted or how I want to live my life doesn't hurt anybody. You know, it didn't end up hurting my mom or my partner. But yeah, in that moment where I felt that extreme discomfort, I avoided what I wanted because I didn't want to be uncomfortable so much. I didn't want to deal with the pressure of possibly facing rejection. So I rejected my own self and my needs and my desires, what I want, how I want to be, etc., and made an alternative Kathy that felt more acceptable, that that my inner child thought would be loved more, that would be safe more. But external safety is never real safety. Like when it comes to like being your true self, right? I don't mean like physical safety, of course that's important. And in that moment where I really sat with that discomfort and did what I wanted to do anyways, I found that I was expecting other people to get permission for me to want what they wanted, to do what they wanted as well. It went both ways. And I'm finding that a lot of these programs that we have, a lot of these limiting beliefs and stories, thoughts, they're usually, when you have something that's pointed inwards, it all also points outwards. So, like, I thought people were expecting me to get permission to do what I wanted. So, or to want what I want, to do what I want, whatever. So I thought that other people, so I actually subconsciously, unknowingly, was looking for others, expecting others to get permission from me to do what they wanted, to want what they wanted. And like my sense of safety was dependent on that, on them asking me for permission. And my sense of safety was also dependent on other people giving me permission. So there's codependency in this as well. And I realized this is so old and I don't want this anymore and it's not my true self. I don't feel free when my safety like hinges on other people accepting how I want to be, what I want from life, what I want to do, how I want to live my life, etc. You know? And I don't want others to be dependent on me for their safety in what they want to do, etc. Everything that I mentioned. That's not the kind of relationship that I want. And that didn't feel free. And my natural self that came up in that moment, my true self, my wonder child self, before wounding is I'm actually cool with like other people wanting what they want, doing what they want, how they want to live their life. It's okay. You know, let other people be. And I actually am cool with what I want, how I want to be, etc. And it felt so liberating to not hold on to shackles anymore, both other people onto me and like kind of conforming to what I think others want from me, and also not holding other people in shackles. I don't want that. It's so gross to me. You know, I want others to feel free. I want to feel free too. And I feel love in that. So it actually felt so relieving and liberating to let go of this limiting belief. Um, going to say something and then I forgot. Yeah, and also it opened up so much space when I saw that I had expected people to get permission from me to want what they want to be themselves, basically. Coming to that, seeing and feeling that again, that belief, the way I was living, opened up so much space, and letting that go, because that also meant that I don't need to keep such a close eye on people anymore subconsciously. I knew I always did that in my intimate friendships and relationships, and also with mom, but I didn't want to. I didn't know why I was like that. And it takes so much energy to monitor people. And it was always kind of this uncomfortable feeling because I didn't want to be that way. I didn't know why though. But also it meant that I felt monitored, and like someone was always like checking in on me and what I am, how I'm like, and all this. So to be able to finally come to an acceptance that I was doing that, and that where that was coming from, also that I don't want to be that way, I could choose. Okay, like I'm letting this go. And I don't know, like going forward, I might feel discomfort because this could be a trigger for me. Like asking what I want, stuff like that. But just to be able to have that experience of seeing clearly, that I thought people have expectations on me to ask for permission, and I was doing the same for other people. I was able to let that go and take the first big step to letting that way of being go. And I feel much more at peace. Um, maybe there'll be times where I'm tested and I keep letting go. I'm not sure, but I also feel very peaceful and like my true self, not keeping an eye on people energetically, um, or to know that this isn't going to affect me as much as it did when I was growing up. Because ultimately, I just want to be me and live my life, want to, do what I want and want what I want, and for others to do all that as well, to embody more of myself, and for others to embody more of themselves, their true selves, my true self. So, yeah, I hope there's something in this message for you, for your growth, for your healing, for your development, for your self discovery and empowerment. And I hope that you get to be closer to your true self, your natural self, through this message. So take care, and thank you so much for being here this long. Ciao.